cold down here for some reason. But we're going to be working on the Langmuir plasma in the corner there. Let's get to it. Well, here is my dirty Langmuir plasma. I've had it for less than a month and I've been running it pretty good, but I want some upgrades. So my upgrades right now that I bought with it, since this is just the Crossfire, it's not the Pro, so it doesn't have a really big footprint. This has about a, oh, I can't remember, I think it's about 25 by 25 cut area, or 25 by 23. And then you get the XL package, which is the longer, actually goes from here to here, with a bigger, I guess you'd call it screw, I don't know. It extends at 10 inches. So with it extending at 10 inches, that gives the footprint of the whole entire thing from basically this end to this end. And so from right here to right here. So 33 by 25-ish. Perfect. Perfect for what I do. I will be getting a bigger one day. But today, we're upgrading this just a little bit. As you see, there's a lot of cords and a plasma sitting on the floor. And yeah, my shop, I roll things around in, everything with wheels on it, works out really great. So we're gonna build a shelf. The good thing about the shelf is it is a bolt-in shelf. We're going to put it across the bottom here, kind of low. It'll stabilize these legs a little bit better. It will be riv nutted in to this metal. This metal is not too thick. It's very thin actually, but it should hold some rib nuts and do very well for the weight that I'm doing. So what I'm gonna end up doing is putting the plasma on that side, just like this over here, and we're gonna riv nut into each corner, and we're keeping it inside the legs. That's not too bad, not too much to ask for. Eventually I'll also have to get a cord holder for this massively long lead. Comes all the way down to here. So it's pretty long. But I've got a couple other cords, and I haven't really talked a lot about what I've done here. Oh, this is a voltage regulator that goes to the plasma. I extended it because otherwise it ended here, which means that this little box that's velcroed to the side of this would have to be velcroed to the side of that, and I didn't like that. So I extended the wire to make sure I can put the plasma almost wherever I wanted, under this table or around this table, and I won't have any issues. So put the plasma either back there or right here, and then eventually I want to build a shield that goes over all the electronics right here. So that's eventually. I've got metal to do it with. The metal down here that I'm going to use, it's a 20 gauge, and I'm going to just cut a design on there to go up underneath. Kind of like expanded metal, but I priced out expanded metal and thought, why buy expanded metal when I have a machine that can cut stuff like this, kind of like this, instead of like that. I wanted this, but that's $180-ish for a decent sized sheet, and that's the only thing they have. They don't cut it down. So why not buy a $80 sheet, 20 gauge? It's gonna do the same thing. So it's gonna have enough bracing in it. It's gonna be braced crossways, both ways. So I shouldn't have any issues. As well as I'll probably, like I said, put guards right here for water to not go down there with electronics and whatnot. But we'll get to that in a little bit. Let's get to measuring. All right, so looking at the measurements for this thing, it's gonna be 33.5 by 29. So that's gonna be the square, and we're using this scrap metal. Why scrap metal? It's cheap because it's free. Somebody actually gave me this a couple years ago, and it's perfect for what I want. Not too thick, not too wide, perfect. And I have just enough to make what I want up under there. So we're gonna cut that, as well as we're gonna break out the riv nut gun. Breaking out the old riv nut gun. And, too much stuff up here. Got my bolts right here that I wanna use. Got my M8s right here. Got some bigger bolts. So we're gonna go down the list and find M8. And that's what we're gonna use. Pretty simple. So what this requires me to do is drill a hole. And if you've ever seen one, just like a rivet, these things are pretty cool. So let's take a look at what they do. All right, so seeing what one of these does, put it in the middle like that, and then you crimp it down with the machine and it crimps it down. So initially with these little knurls, as you see on the top, they dig into the metal so it shouldn't move. Some people use glue and whatnot, or silicone. So let's get to cutting that, and figuring out where our holes are, get to where we're drilling our holes in the metal legs, put these pieces in and get it done. So you're just gonna see a time lapse of all that because I'm just gonna knock it out. So let's do it. well, we got it all done with that. It's my first time attempting to do some dimple dies. I'm gonna try and strengthen this up with some dimple dies. So I've got 1 1/4 inch, 1.5 inch, and 1 3/4, I think. So yeah, did that first one. Had to drill these out a little bit because whatever it is, 1 1/4 doesn't fit 1 1/4. It needs to be a little bit bigger because the die is like almost exactly 1 1/4. So that's what we're doing. So clean these all up, ready to go so they don't mess up my die. Put them in, dimple it, and then we get to put it on the frame over there, weld it in and bolt it in. So let's do that. All right, well, it's done. It's mounted up. It has dimple dies. It is welded to the frame itself. It's bolted in. It's holding my plasma up very well. This is where I'm probably gonna have it. I don't really know another way to put the plug unless I put a hard plug up there, but that doesn't make sense to do. These wires are eventually gonna get hung probably up here, and that ground is just gonna be wrapped up on a tab right there so it doesn't get pulled out of the machine or pull the machine. Did a little bit of wire cleanup with some zip ties, routed it. Everything's right there so I can turn it on, see everything I need to do. The next time you see this and the next project I'm gonna do, it's gonna be a little bit more wiring organization and then a splash shield on this side. But yeah, definitely this side so that it doesn't go through that crack and it doesn't get on any of these electronics. It's all gonna be from above to below. So it's all gonna be bolted up probably to these cross members up here and go further in. So it's up under here and it's gonna angle it down. I'm gonna have to work on that. I'm gonna have to make it happen because I don't want big puddles of water in my machine. So a lot of people don't put machines up under it, but I mean, you got all these electronics which are more important than most of the other stuff, and it's just sitting here. And if you get any splashback, it gets all over them. So, but I want to thank you for joining into another episode of The Shop. I want to thank Benchmark Abrasives for supplying my flappy wheels, flappy disc wheels, sanding wheels, cutoff wheels, and everything else. My razor weld, that's what I use to plasma cut all that. And then my ARC Captain 50, or Cut 50 right here, is what I use to cut the plate in the beginning. The dimple dies, just purchased dimple dies from Rogue Fabrication, which work out pretty well. I'll be using these a lot more in the episodes to come because I got a lot more projects, and now that I can cut a lot more and more precise, I can do that. So like I said, I want to thank you for joining in, and if you like this kind of content, give me a like, a subscribe, anything helps, even just a like. So can't wait to see y'all next time.